to move into the next segment and introduce the New South Wales Outstanding Business Leader of 2023. She is the President of the Urban Development Institute of Australia, a Board Director and former CEO of Western Sydney Lakes. A passionate advocate for Western Sydney, she has been responsible for developing and leading the transformational vision for the Western Sydney Lakes precinct and instrumental in building its profile with the recent Penrith Beach opening. Who's been there? It's still open. Maybe missed this weekend. Please welcome Jacqui Vozzo.
It is customary in our culture that we acknowledge the traditional owners, custodians of the land that we gather on. We also pay respects to our ancestors, to our elders past and present. We extend our hand in friendship. We ask that you're on country, that you walk gently, respect the land, the waters, the mountains and the seas. So we offer you a warm and sincere welcome onto Darug country. Didurigora, thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you have just seen so beautifully in a snippet from a smoking ceremony that happened at Western Sydney Lakes, for thousands of years the Nepean River, surrounding waterways and the site known as Western Sydney Lakes, formerly Penrith Lakes, was an important place for the Darug people. So firstly, my acknowledgement to country, and I extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people with us in the room today. What I really want to talk to you about for a couple of minutes is the rich history of Western Sydney Lakes, which people may or may not be aware of. The precinct was significant, as you've just seen, for our Indigenous fellows, as both fertile land for planting of crops and as a meeting place. Following European settlement, it was used for agricultural farming, and in the 80s, the private mining consortium, Penrith Lakes Development Corporation, was established. The site was then a sand and gravel quarry operated by Boral, Holcim and Hanson, supporting Sydney's housing and infrastructure projects. At the time of formation, PLDC signed a deed of agreement with the then New South Wales Labor government. Under the terms of the deed, when mining was completed, the intention was that the site would be returned as a major parkland and lake system with future urban areas. In the 90s, the Sydney International Regatta Centre was built in preparation for the 2000 Olympics, and it was used for rowing, kayaking, and still holds regatta events today. In 2015, extraction activities ceased and rehabilitation of the site began. Extensive work was done on the regeneration of the landscape and rehabilitation of ecosystems and biodiversity. What has been achieved and what you see now is a world-class quarrying rehabilitation. It became one of the largest earth-moving operations in New South Wales. 16.3 million tonnes of spoil has been imported into the site and compacted into the urban landform that you see now, which is above the flood planning level, and together also includes the construction of flood mitigation infrastructure. Following almost 2 decades worth of planning proposals submitted for the site, in 2017, the site was unzoned. We are all here in the room today because Penrith and its proximity within Sydney is evolving. Sorry, I wanted to take you back a slide. Thank you. Western Sydney International is expected to become one of the busiest airports, one day welcoming 82 million passengers. And when the first planes land, we're going to get about, in 2026, 5 to 10 million people travelling through Western Sydney each year. As the closest city to the new airport and the only city connected to the airport by rail, Penrith will be home base for travellers wanting to explore all that Sydney has to offer, bringing millions of holiday makers, business travellers and workers to this vibrant and growing city, and by extension, the Lakes Precinct. This is a really exciting moment in time, as all speakers today have said. It's going to put Western Sydney on the global stage. The goal should be getting more people to visit, stay and play here in Penrith and at the lakes. We don't want people arriving here and moving east. We need to create the opportunities right here to do more. We all know there is much to offer, as we've recently seen Taylor Swift, a global superstar, not go to Taronga Zoo but visit Western Sydney Zoo twice. We are starting to build more destinations, but there is work to do, and Western Sydney Lakes is poised to play a crucial role in that. We have the space, we have the vision, and if we build it, I know they will come. When you look at a bird's eye view of the Lakes precinct that you see on screen right now, this is what you see. Located at the edge of the Greater Sydney Basin, bounded by the mountains to the west and the oceans to the east. It is identified as part of the growth centre for the Western Parkland City, and it will be instrumental in ensuring that Penrith and this region thrives. The Lakes precinct is enormous. Just looking at its sheer size and scale, you can see it is the same size as Bondi to Bronte and all those suburbs in between. And if I break that down into metrics, north to west, we are 6 kilometres. North to south, we are 6 kilometres, and east to west, we are 3 kilometres. We are 1,935 hectares in size. The lakes represent 790 hectares, and the middle lake is 380 hectares alone. The consolidated urban area to the east of the lakes is 330 hectares. That is 3 times the size of Bradfield. Most recently, together with government, we delivered community access to some of that water amenity. Penrith Beach, or as it was dubbed, not by me, but now embraced by me, of sorts, Pondi. Pondi was an important step for Western Sydney. No longer did our Western Sydney residents of Penrith need to travel 1 hour to get to an eastern beach. Now, I'm not saying the lake was the same as Bondi, just to be clear, but it was an opportunity for our residents to pop around the corner to their own backyard and actually refresh themselves in a hot climate. Pondi in our backyard and the opening of the pop-up beach made sense. It addresses so many of the challenges we have in Penrith. The hot climate, 40 degrees plus through summer. Recreation, currently reliant on only 2 public recreational swimming pools. Health and wellbeing. 71% of people over the age of 18 years undertake no or little exercise a week, with 32.8% of our city's adults obese and 37% overweight. The trial activation period was successful. It was originally supposed to run from December 23 to March 24. However, given its popularity, the government saw fit to extend it to the Anzac Day long weekend. Off the back of low-level investment and low-level infrastructure, some 200,000 visitors have still visited the lake beach. Public sentiment shows that people want to visit the site.
Sustainability is obviously very important for us as designers. We want to create a building that's very durable, that lasts a long time. We thought it was important to identify a single primary form that would really drive the whole project, and that's where we identified the circle. The circle is a bridge between the land and the lake. The form of the building embraces an external terrace that's the interface between the building and the lake. So we have the lake in the foreground, with the Blue Mountains acting as a backdrop for all the activities. The building is there to support all the activities that occur on the lake. It shouldn't be the primary focus of the project. The lake is the focus of the project, and the building is there to support that.
Hashtag Fund the Lake House. That was our vision. That is still our vision, and that is still what we are pushing for. We want to create, as Simon referred to, an icon in the West. We want to create a public destination that is locally loved and globally recognised. The principal reason for this development was to provide an easily accessible community facility to Western Sydney residents with access to recreational activities unlike any other offered in Sydney. There are no other lakes and no other lake beaches. This includes access to the 121 hectare lake, 700 metres of sandy beach shores, a lake run akin to the Inner West Bay Run of 5.7 kilometres in loop, and a lake house pier being a semicircular walkway to enable abled and disabled access to the water's edge and also create a safe swimming zone. The lake house is intended to mirror some of the long-term standing waterside pavilions that have been available to the beachside residents in the north, the east and the south. What we need to make this happen is a clear direction from government on the planning pathway available to us, a pathway that will allow the private sector to invest in the West with its own money and get on with delivery. In addition to the lake house, in May of 2022, we submitted our master plan for South Bank, an 80 hectare chunk of the consolidated 330 urban area I showed you before, which was aimed at creating regionally significant recreational open space for Western Sydney, supported and enhanced by sustainable mixed-use development. That South Bank precinct was intended to be the tourism economy of the West, a refreshing climate for people to work, to play, to relax and to visit, with access to the fresh water and the backdrop of the Blue Mountains. Our intention was very much to create the base for the Western Sydney tourism economy. Yes, the vision is bold and ambitious, but it did not include residential development and everything was safe and resilient. We could evacuate. Unfortunately, planning did not see fit to approve the amenity we proposed. Currently, what is there is an approved golf course, a heliport and a business park, with provision also made for a wave park. Given the size of the site, proximity to the airport and sheer beauty of the lakes, Western Sydney deserves this precinct to become a reality. I call on planning and the government to find the pathway to unlocking this very rare opportunity. Future forums like this are important in driving the tourism agenda forward for Western Sydney. There's much to do. We can all play a part in advocating for the opportunities out here, the investment required and the need for it to happen now. I was at an event last night where the federal member, Andrew Charlton, in reference to pushing Parramatta to be a global city, said, "Not all cheerleaders have pom-poms." I now say that in reference to Penrith. Penrith and the lakes, I am certainly cheering for you. Thanks.
And we're cheering for you, Jacqui Vozzo. Keep up the good fight. I encourage you to go out to Penrith Beach if you haven't been there already. There are a few weekends left. We might not call it summer anymore, but it is a beautiful place. And in my other role with a life jacket on, we ran an event there and it was very popular. With 1 day's notice, we had a couple of 100 people come through and go kayaking on the lake. And when you get out in the middle, you can't believe that you're close to such a big urban centre as Sydney, and it's close to home. People came from obviously close by, Jordan Springs and Cranebrook, but from Campbelltown, from the Hills District and so on. So great potential out there at the lake. And one of the things that we'll talk about sport tourism later, but it is a beef of mine. But part of that precinct is operating already, the Regatta Centre, the Whitewater Centre. So I think the lakes, starting with what's already operating, we shouldn't let go of opening up the lakes. And the forum that we've got on the Slido, our key stakeholders will be taking notice and we'll be drawing together feedback. So if you've got questions about it and when and how, please keep asking them. But